Fall of Lumen: How to Play. This video explains the general rules for a multiplayer competitive game at Fall of Lumen. The game setup and the player setup for a Fall of Lumen game are explained in the previous videos. There is another video that shows a full round of gameplay. The main mechanics of Fall of Lumen are: area movement. The game board is divided into 8 regions that grant access to gather actions, markets, and challenge sites. During the game, you will move your hero many times from one region to another to access what you need most at that moment. Deck building. Your deck is your main resource. Improving it by buying better cards will help you perform better. When you buy a card, it goes directly into your hand, ready to be used. There is no need to wait for a full round or a reshuffle to play it. Each card in your hand can be used in 2 alternative ways. Play it for its effect, gain 1 mithril and 1 gold. Discard it as an instant action to gain its skills, 1 fight. Remember, effect or skill. You cannot have both. The last core mechanic is the tableau building. In addition to your deck, you can hire followers and buy trinkets. They are valuable because you can always count on them and not depend on the luck of the draw. You can use them once per round, and then they are exhausted until the next round. Similarly, 2 cards in your hand, you can exhaust one of your followers or trinkets for their effect or to gain their skill. You can exhaust Moonchild and spend 3 wizardry to acquire a follower, or exhaust her to gain 1 wizardry. Trinkets and follower are also useful for their specialist icons. Each trinket and follower has a spec. A minor mechanic is the set collection of the specialist icons and will explained later. Fall of Lumen is played over 6 rounds. Players take turns choosing various actions that help them rescue keepers and sneak them onto Lumen. Each round proceeds as follows: Income Phase, Round Phase, and Lumen Phase. The Income Phase is skipped in the first round, so it will be explained last. In the Round Phase, players take turns clockwise. The Lumen Phase starts when all players have passed and is a maintenance phase. The Round Phase is the core of the game. Players take turns clockwise and keep having turns until they pass. Each player is limited to 1 main action on their turn. Before that, a player can perform any number of flash actions. Fall of Lumen features 8 different main actions. Gather. Each region has a unique action. You can perform the region action in which your hero is up to 3 times with your main action of the turn. You have to pay the gather cost for each time you want to perform it. For example, if your hero is in Araya, you can spend 1 to 3 wit to gain 1 to 3 mana. Acquire. Each region grants access to a market. You can buy from the market connected to your hero's region as the main action of the turn. There are 5 markets. Each of them requires a different resource, gold, mana, etc., and the cost is always 3 of that kind. For example, acquiring a spell costs 3 mana. Traits, spells, and artifacts are acquired directly to your hand, and you can play them in any of your next turns of the round. When acquiring a trinket or a follower, add it to your play area, ready for use. Followers always grant and acquire bonus malice. When you acquire Althea, gain 1 Genasi. When you acquire Chimera, take a bounty. Each time you acquire an element from a market, reveal a new element for that market. Challenges are a central part of the game. There are 3 challenge locations, and you can solve the challenge linked to your hero's region as the main action. For example, to solve the challenge in the top center location, your hero has to be in Era or Goraya. Pay the challenge skills, which are 1 Void and 4 Deceptions, take any other malice, such as a bounty in this case, and gain its reward, acquire an exhausted follower. Then, remove the challenge from the game and reveal the next one. Each challenge site has a first-level challenge on top, then a second level in the middle, and ends with a third-level challenge. All third-level challenges have the same reward, which is: secretly look at the inner worlds on the Lumen board. Choose an inner world and return the others face down to the Lumen board. Place the chosen world on the challenge site and add 3, 4, 6, 7 keepers on it depending on the player count. Rescue one keeper from it, add it to your play area and gain that world bonus. For example, the Great Desert gives you 1 chest. Fall of Lumen features 13 inner worlds. Once an inner world is in the Outer Lands, you can rescue one keeper from it as your main action. Inner worlds are just like challenges and they all work the same. Pay its skills to rescue a keeper from it and gain the world bonus. When the last keeper is rescued from an inner world, remove the inner world from the game and place the corresponding permanent sigil card in its space. You can solve a permanent sigil as your main action, pay its skills, and rescue a keeper from a visible inner world or from the supply, as you prefer. Once placed, a permanent sigil card stays there until the end of the game. The aim of the game is to infiltrate agents on Lumen, to take control of it. In fact, agents are the main source of keeper points (KP). To infiltrate an agent as your main action, your hero has to be in the region where Lumen is. Return a keeper you saved to the supply. Choose a Lumen window and pay its skill cost +1 deception for each agent already present in that window. To infiltrate an agent on a mage window where there are already 2 agents, you must pay 3 wizardry and 2 deception. No matter who owns the agents, take an agent of your color from the supply, place it in the chosen window, and gain that window reward. In this case, draw 1 card. Each Lumen district has 3 windows. The external window has an immediate bonus. The central window grants a recurring income. Every time you infiltrate an agent here, you immediately gain that income. During the income phase, you gain that income as many times as the number of agents you own here. The internal window has an immediate multiplier bonus based on the window specs. If the bonus is computed on specialist pairs you own, the amount is always rounded up, and it includes the agent you just placed. For example, if you own 4 mages and infiltrate an agent on the shown window of the mage district, you have 5 mages, gain 3 dark matter and perform 3 trade. There is no limit to the agents that can be placed on each window. An agent in the mage district counts as your mage. The same is true for the other districts. Just like followers and trinkets, agents help fulfill your faction requirement and boost effects. At endgame, each agent on Lumen is worth 5 KP. Each Voyager agent can be worth additional keeper points, which will be explained later. You can capture a patrol in your hero's region as your main action. To do so, take a bounty and pay one of the following: 2 wizardry or 2 fight and 1 deception, or 2 wit and 2 deception. Take the patrol and put it in your play area. Each time you capture a patrol, you also get loot 1 chest. Take a face-down chest from the supply and add it to your play area. You may keep it face down and look at it any time. A chest contains a random income. You can discard a chest to gain its income as a flash action. Patrols are useful resources. You can trade 1 patrol for 4 gold or 3 patrols to free 1 keeper from prison. In the latter case, add 1 Lumen's Eye to your discard. Some effects may require a cost to return a patrol to the supply. Each captured patrol you still own is worth half KP at endgame. You can perform a no-flash action as the main action of your turn. The no-flash actions are: play a no-flash card from your hand, to perform its effect. Activate one of your no-flash followers or trinkets to perform its effect. Complete your mission. Reveal your mission, pay its cost or meet its requirement, gain its reward, and place it on top of your faction with only the spec visible. From now on, you can count on that specialist tag. Activate your faction. Activating your faction is always a main action. The Rockbitters need you to pay 1 mithril to gain 1 genasi. If you have 2 warriors, you can also perform a travel. If you have 1 more warrior and an engineer, you also gain 1 fight. The second requirement is always contained in the third, so if you fulfill the third, you automatically fulfill the second one. To fulfill your faction specializations requirement, as usual, consider your trinkets, followers, agents on Lumen, and your mission if completed. You can gain rewards from your faction in any order. Let's take a little digression to talk about the instant actions. Instant actions are always available, even in the middle of your main action or a flash action, during setup or the income phase. You can perform them as many times as you want. Discard a card from your hand to gain its skills. Exhaust your follower or trinket to gain its skills. It has to be ready. Convert 1 void into 1 wizardry fight with deception. Convert 1 wizardry fight wit into 1 deception. Convert any 1 skill into 1 gold. You can spend 1 to 3 gold to perform 1 to 3 travel as your main action. With each travel, you may move your hero from the current region to a connected region. For example, move from Araya to Namali. Other movements you can do in the Outer Lands are: pay 1 wit to travel from Rutham to Araya or vice versa. Pay 1 fight to travel from Namali to Telurhian or vice versa. Pay 1 wizardry to teleport from Goraya. Any of these counts as the main action and does not require you to spend a travel. Pay only the required skill. Let's take a little digression to explain some common icons you'll find. The trade icon allows you to buy or sell 1 resource for gold. For example, you can use a trade to buy 1 mana for 2 gold, or to sell it for 2 gold. Each trade icon allows only 1 exchange. With a ritual, you can choose one of the following: gain 1 mana, convert 1 mana into 1 dark matter, or convert 1 dark matter into 1 genasi. The Scry icon allows you to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and discard them both, put them back on top in any order, or put one on top and discard the other. You can choose to pass as the main action. If you cannot or do not want to take any other main action, then you must pass. Follow the pass procedure. If your hero is in the region with Lumen, add 1 Lumen's eye to your discard. If your hero is not in the Lumen region, but shares the region with 1 or more patrols, take 1 bounty. As soon as you have 3 bounties, return them to the Lumen board and add a Lumen's eye card to your discard. This is mandatory. Restore your faction, followers, and trinkets. Usually your hand will be empty. But if you have cards left, each can be discarded to gain skills or saved for the next round. Place your flag on an available pass bonus on the Lumen board, which other players have not chosen. Bonuses are collected in the income phase. Convert all your unused skills into 1 gold each. Shuffle your discard and place them face down at the bottom of your deck. Only here, you shuffle your discard to refill your deck. Some cards have a pass cost. To play them, you have to do the pass procedure on the left. You can only play 1 pass card per round, because forcing you to pass you won't have any more turns to do other actions. The Lumen phase begins when all players have passed. Reveal the top event of the Lumen deck and apply its effect in order. The most experienced player can carry out the Lumen phase. For example, Place Lumen in era. Refresh the spell market. Remove the 2 face-up spells from the game and reveal 2 new spells. Add 2 patrols to Goraya and 2 patrols to Rotham. Add 1 Lumen agent to the external window of the Mage District. Advanced events work the same way, but they also add 1 Lumen agent to the Voyager District. At the end of the Lumen deck is the Endgame event, which ends the game. Otherwise, a new round begins with the Income Phase. After the Lumen Phase, a new round begins with the Income Phase. All players draw from their deck until they have 5 cards. All players gain their hero skills. The player who placed their flag on the highest pass bonus gains the seat of the first and becomes the first player. All players gain their pass bonus and take back their flags. All players gain income from the district's central windows based on the number of their agents. All players can carry out this phase simultaneously. Endgame Scoring. The game ends when the last Lumen event is revealed. Each player scores keeper points according to the following: 5 points for each agent infiltrated in Lumen, whether they are mages, warriors, engineers, or informers. Each agent is worth 5 points. Voyager agents are worth 5 points too, plus additional points that will be explained in a few. Keepers saved that you have not been able to infiltrate into Lumen are worth 3 points each. Each captured patrol that you still have is worth half a point. Each Lumen's Eye and Void pack that is still in your deck, discard, or hand is worth -1 point. Voyager District. Voyagers in the central window are worth 2 additional points. Voyagers on the left window are worth 2 or 4 additional points for each couple of the defined specialists you have. In this case, it is Warrior and Informer. Each Voyager allows you to score up to 2 couples. If you have 1 Voyager here and own 5 Warriors and 3 Informers, you score 4 additional points. A second Voyager here is worth 2 additional points, as it allows you to score the third couple you have. As usual, specs come from your followers, trinkets, agents on Lumen, and your fulfilled mission. The right window works similarly, but with skills printed on the top left corner of your cards. For this window, you can consider top left skills from cards in your deck, discard, hand, plus your hero and followers. In this case, the scoring skill couple is Void and Wizardry. You can score up to 4 couples for each Voyager, 1 additional point for each couple. If you have 1 Voyager here, 6 Wizardy, and 3 Void overall, you'll score 3 additional points. A second Voyager here is not worth any additional points, as you don't have any leftover couple of Void and Wizardry to score. Appendix, Alternative Map and Scenario Cards. Fall of Lumen features an alternative map on the back of the board. The alternative map has a different arrangement of the regions and features a 9th region, the Void. The Void features no gather action, but allows you to acquire a Void pack and gain 1 chest by spending 1 patrol. To travel in and out of the Void, you don't need to spend a travel icon. Instead, you have to pay the shown skill. For example, to travel from the Void to Namali or vice versa, you have to spend 1 fight. You can teleport in and out of the Void as in any other region. To add more variations to the game, we have also included 7 setup scenario cards and 7 action scenario cards. Setup scenario cards add a minor variation to setup but no additional actions. You can easily add one to setup when you know the game well. For example, the Void in us determines that the game will be played on the map with the Void, and at the start of the setup, each player will acquire 1 Void pack for free from the map. Action scenario cards add a variation in the form of an additional action. We suggest including one action scenario only after playing several games of Fall of Lumen. You can include an action scenario alone, or combine it with a setup scenario. Each action scenario card can be played on either side of the map. For example, Winds of Change allows you to spend one deception to refresh the follower, or the trinket market, before acquiring from it. We hope you will enjoy the Fall of Lumen. Best 2-8